my money going out on the town.
He was born on a summer day, 1951.
Down in Jamaica, they got lots of pretty women. Steal you. Don't go changing to try and please me.
Welcome back to the Rock Vault, where the amps are always hot. In 1977, soft rock was more than a sound. It was a feeling. Tonight, we're dusting off 10 shimmering gems you might have forgotten, but never truly lost. Let's drop the needle. FM static fading into the smooth, honeyed harmonies of Player. Baby Come Back wasn't just a breakup song. It was a quiet revolution in soft rock. Recorded at Sound City Studios in Los Angeles, the track featured a lineup of seasoned studio musicians who had been backing other artists for years. But here, under the direction of Peter Beckett and J.C. Crowley, they crafted their own signature sound. Crisp guitar lines, a subtle funk undercurrent, and a chorus that could melt the edges off any heartache. Written in the aftermath of Beckett's own breakup, the lyrics didn't rage or accuse. They pleaded with a kind of vulnerability that felt deeply human. In an era when soft rock was often dismissed as background music, Baby Come Back stood out because it balanced polish with real emotional weight. It was refined, yes, but there was nothing manufactured about the longing in Beckett's delivery. By the winter of '77, it began its slow climb up the charts, finally hitting #1 in early 1978. For months, you couldn't turn on a car radio without hearing it. And when it played, people stopped mid-conversation just to hum along. For many, it became the soundtrack to bittersweet endings. The first love that slipped away, the one phone call never made, the what if that lingered long after the lights went out. Even today, when that bass line kicks in, you can almost feel the warm vinyl under your fingertips, see the album sleeve sitting on a shag carpet, and remember a time when the most urgent thing in the world was convincing someone not to walk away. It's a song that proves soft rock at its best isn't about being soft at all, it's about being sincere. And sincerity never goes out of style.
Believe that love has gone. Well, I've no strength to get.
By 1977, the Bay City Rollers were known for their tartan scarves, youthful energy, and a bubblegum pop image that made teenage fans scream. But with You Made Me Believe in Magic, they stepped onto a different stage, one lit by soft rock shimmer and disco-era polish. Gone were the overly saccharine hooks of their earlier hits. In their place was a slick, mature sound, crafted in London with producer Harry Maslin, fresh off his work with David Bowie. The track opens with an effortless glide, a smooth bass line, airy strings, and harmonies that feel like they're wrapped in satin. Maslin's production leans into that soft rock disco crossover space, letting the groove breathe while keeping the energy just high enough for a dance floor sway. Every element, the tight backing vocals, the clean guitar licks, the subtle rise of the chorus, works in service of that radio-perfect glow. For American audiences, this was the moment the Rollers felt like they belonged alongside the era's biggest soft rock acts. The song peaked at #10 on the Billboard Hot 100, marking their biggest US success and one of their last significant chart moments. But in 1977, it was everywhere. Spinning from jukeboxes in small-town diners, crackling through FM radios on summer nights, and blaring from roller rinks where couples slow-skated under mirrored lights. The nostalgia runs deeper than just the chart numbers. You Made Me Believe in Magic carried an optimism that was rare in an era of shifting musical tides. Punk was kicking down the door, disco was dominating the clubs, and soft rock was quietly holding its ground. The Rollers track wasn't chasing trends. It was finding a new balance between sweetness and sophistication. For fans who'd grown up with their teen idol image, it felt like the band had matured right alongside them. Decades later, the song has largely slipped into the background of pop history, overshadowed by the Rollers' earlier, flashier hits. But press play, and you'll feel it again. That easy glide, that hopeful chorus, that strange magic that makes you want to believe, if only for 3.5 minutes, that love is simple and certain. In the right moment, "You Made Me Believe in Magic" doesn't just take you back to 1977. It makes you feel like you never left.
Been away, haven't seen you in a while.
Sometimes, the most powerful songs don't come from dramatic confessions or soaring declarations. They come from quiet acceptance. "We Just Disagree" is one of those rare tracks that delivers its emotional punch not through force, but through grace. By 1977, Dave Mason, a founding member of Traffic and an established solo artist, was crafting songs that merged singer-songwriter intimacy with soft rock's refined warmth. Recorded during the sessions for his album Let It Flow in Los Angeles, the song owes much of its magic to guitarist Jim Kruger. Kruger not only penned the track, but also provided the delicate harmony vocals that wrap around Mason's lead like a bittersweet memory. The arrangement is spare yet rich, acoustic guitars intertwining, a steady rhythm section keeping time like a heartbeat, and an understated melody that invites you to lean in rather than sing out loud. In a decade when breakup songs often came with accusations or desperate pleas, "We Just Disagree" stood apart. It wasn't about blame. It wasn't about regret. It was about two people acknowledging that love had run its course without losing respect for each other. That perspective, mature, even noble, resonated with listeners who had been through their own endings and understood that sometimes the kindest thing you can do is simply walk away. The single climbed to number 12 on the Billboard Hot 100. Its success fueled by radio DJs who loved its unassuming charm. For many fans, it became the perfect soundtrack to a late-night drive. Windows down, the cool air rolling in, the road stretching endlessly ahead, and the understanding that some chapters close quietly. Hearing it now feels like stepping into a snapshot of 1977 that's free from the glitter and noise of the era's bigger hits. It's a reminder that soft rock could be every bit as honest and affecting as any genre, maybe more so because it didn't hide behind theatrics. Mason's delivery is calm but certain, the kind of performance that sinks in deeper with each listen. Decades later, "We Just Disagree" hasn't lost its tenderness. It still speaks to that universal truth that not every ending has to be a war. Sometimes it's just the turning of a page. And in that way, it remains one of soft rock's most quietly enduring statements. In the haze of 1977's radio waves, "So Into You" stood out like a velvet silhouette against a neon skyline. Atlanta Rhythm Section, known for blending southern rock grit with studio polish, leaned fully into the smooth side of their sound here. Recorded at Studio One in Doraville, Georgia, the track trades the band's bluesy edges for something hypnotic. A slow, steady groove that feels like it could go on forever without breaking the spell. The arrangement is lush but never crowded. A warm electric piano shimmers beneath silky guitar lines. The bass glides like it's half asleep in the best possible way. And Ronnie Hammond's vocals are pure restraint. All suggestion, no overstatement. Producer Buddy Bowie layered the mix with subtle touches. Echoing guitar fills, a soft percussive sway, and just enough atmosphere to make you feel like you're listening in the dim light of an after-hours lounge. When it hit the airwaves, "So Into You" was the kind of song that made drivers slow down without realizing it, the tempo syncing perfectly with a summer night's cruise. It climbed to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100, the band's biggest crossover hit, and proved that Southern musicians could excel in the softer, more sensual spaces of rock without losing authenticity. For those who lived it, the song holds a memory of quiet moments. Sitting on a porch as the heat of the day fades, hearing that opening riff drift from a neighbor's radio, or swaying close with someone you didn't want to let go of just yet. It was more than background music. It was mood, it was texture, it was time itself slowing down for 4.5 minutes. Today, "So Into You" may have slipped into the deeper corners of classic rock playlists, but every time it resurfaces, it reminds us how versatile and atmospheric the genre could be. It's proof that sometimes the most lasting songs don't shout, they whisper.
Oh girl, it's been a while. Guess you'll be glad to...
Some songs demand attention, with grand arrangements and soaring choruses. I Go Crazy does the opposite. It draws you in by being almost impossibly still. Released in August 1977, this soft-spoken ballad would go on to set a Billboard Hot 100 record for the longest chart run at the time, spending an astonishing 40 weeks climbing before finally peaking at number 7. Recorded at Web 4 Studios in Atlanta, the production is stripped to its barest essentials. A gentle piano line carries the melody, cushioned by understated bass and drums that seem more interested in holding the song's heartbeat than driving it forward. Paul Davis's vocals are hushed, almost conversational, the kind of performance that feels like it's meant for one person's ears. Yet somehow it connected with millions. The magic of I Go Crazy lies in its restraint. In a decade where soft rock often leaned into lush orchestration, Davis chose space over saturation. You can hear the room in the recording, the air between the notes, the pauses that say as much as the words. That space gives the lyrics a quiet intimacy, a confession that feels deeply personal. Running into an old flame, realizing the feelings never truly faded, and grappling with emotions that time couldn't erase. For those who first heard it in '77, the song became an emotional time capsule. Maybe you were sitting in a dimly lit apartment, phone in hand, but unsure what to say. Maybe you heard it on the car radio after unexpectedly seeing someone from your past. Whatever the setting, I Go Crazy was less about spectacle and more about truth. And that truth resonated across generations. Paul Davis wasn't a household name in the same way as some of his contemporaries, but this track ensured his place in soft rock history. It didn't just chart well, it became a quiet staple of late-night radio, mixtapes for lost love, and moments when words failed, but music could still speak. Even now, decades later, the song's impact hasn't faded. Play it in the right moment, and the years peel away. You're right back in 1977, vinyl spinning, the lights low, and that voice reminding you that some feelings never truly leave. In a genre sometimes accused of being background noise, I Go Crazy stands as proof that soft rock can stop you in your tracks, not by being louder, but by being more honest.
He was born on a summer day, 1951.
From its very first lyric, Lonely Boy feels like reading a diary left open on the kitchen table. Names, dates, and moments so specific they can't help but feel real. Andrew Gold, a multi-instrumentalist and in-demand session player, poured both wit and melancholy into this piano-driven track, crafting something that sits at the intersection of soft rock polish and singer-songwriter vulnerability. Recorded at Sound Factory in Los Angeles, Lonely Boy sparkles with West Coast production values, crisp piano chords, tight rhythm work, and layered harmonies that lift each chorus higher. Gold's arrangement balances upbeat momentum with an undercurrent of bittersweet reflection, giving the song a dual nature. It makes you want to sing along, even as you feel the sting behind the words. While Gold insisted the autobiographical details weren't literal, the emotional core resonated with anyone who'd ever felt left behind. It's the story of growing up, watching life change around you, and feeling somehow forgotten in the shuffle. A universal ache dressed in shimmering 1970s pop craftsmanship. The track's clever storytelling and catchy hook propelled it to number 7 on the Billboard Hot 100 in the summer of 1977, making it Gold's biggest solo hit. For those who remember its airplay, Lonely Boy was the kind of song you'd hear spilling from every kind of radio. From the polished FM stereo in a Cadillac to the slightly tinny AM signal in a kitchen countertop unit, it captured a mood that was both personal and shared, a reminder that behind every polished exterior, Someone might be carrying their own quiet hurt. Over time, Lonely Boy slipped from the forefront of classic rock rotations, overshadowed by Gold's behind-the-scenes work with artists like Linda Ronstadt and the Eagles. But revisit it now, and it's impossible to miss the craftsmanship or the heart that made it unforgettable in its day. It's a reminder that in soft rock, the most enduring tracks are often the ones that tell us something true about ourselves.
Down in Jamaica, they got lots of pretty women. Steal your
There's an easy sway to Stephen Bishop's On and On that makes it feel like a lazy summer evening caught in song. Unhurried, unbothered, and yet quietly full of feeling. Released in the waning months of 1977, the track would slowly make its way into the hearts of listeners, peaking at number 11 on the Billboard Hot 100 in early 1978. Bishop, then a rising singer-songwriter, had a knack for rapping bittersweet stories in breezy melodies. Recorded with producer Henry Louis, known for his work with Joni Mitchell, the session leaned heavily into keeping things light and organic. The instrumentation is a who's who of late 70s soft rock talent. Larry Carlton lending his fluid guitar touch, Chaka Khan offering silky backing vocals, and a rhythm section that knows exactly when to step forward and when to hang back. The song's narrative floats between snapshots: a lonely woman chasing dreams in the Caribbean, a man trying to hold on to love that's slipping away. Yet Bishop delivers it all with a shrugging grace, as if to say, "This is life. It goes on." The tropical lilt of the arrangement, with its gentle percussion and sun-warmed guitar chords, turns heartbreak into something you can almost dance to. For listeners in 1977, On and On was the perfect companion to quiet moments, lying on the couch with the windows open, the late afternoon light cutting through the blinds, or sitting on a back porch as the day faded into night. It wasn't the kind of song that demanded the spotlight, but it had a way of settling in and staying with you. Its understated production and conversational vocal style set it apart from more dramatic ballads of the era. Where others might have leaned into orchestral sweeps or soaring choruses, Bishop kept it close to the vest, letting the lyrics and mood do the heavy lifting. That restraint is part of why the song still feels fresh today. It's timeless without trying to be. Though Stephen Bishop would go on to have other hits, and even earn Oscar nominations for his film work, On and On remains his signature tune. It's a reminder that sometimes the most enduring songs aren't the loudest or most celebrated. They're the ones that feel like they've been with you all along, quietly marking the seasons of your life. And in that way, On and On continues to do exactly what its title promises.
You are here and warm, but I could look away.
Some songs feel like they've been kissed by sunlight, carrying warmth long after they fade. Sentimental Lady is one of them. Originally recorded as a mellow deep cut during Bob Welch's years with Fleetwood Mac, the song found its true voice in 1977 when Welch revisited it for his solo album French Kiss. The new version was pure West Coast magic. Welch brought in old friends Christine McVie and Lindsey Buckingham, whose shimmering harmonies and clean guitar work transformed the track into a soft rock jewel. Recorded at Cherokee Studios in Los Angeles, the production is glossy yet intimate, a perfect balance of California cool and heartfelt confession. Lyrically, Sentimental Lady is simple, almost childlike in its devotion. But its delivery, wrapped in layers of gentle guitars and airy vocals, makes it feel like a love letter written on a breezy afternoon. In the soft rock landscape of '77, it stood out by being unabashedly tender, without a trace of irony. For those who first heard it that year, the song carried a certain cinematic nostalgia, the kind that makes you think of long drives up the Pacific Coast Highway, windows down, hair tousled by the ocean breeze. It was romantic, but not in a grandiose way, more like the quiet comfort of someone's hand in yours. Sentimental Lady climbed to number 8 on the Billboard Hot 100, giving Welch his biggest solo hit and a lasting signature. Though he'd continue to release music, this track would remain the one most people remembered him for. A piece of the late 70s soft rock tapestry that still shimmers whenever it resurfaces. Even now, decades later, it plays like a postcard from a better time.
On a morning from a Bogart movie, in a country where
Few songs can transport you quite like Year of the Cat. It's not just a track, it's a journey, a cinematic unfolding of scenes set to one of the most distinctive arrangements in 70s soft rock. By the time it reached American listeners in 1977, it had already been crafted to perfection at London's famed Abbey Road studios, with producer Alan Parsons at the helm. Parsons brought a meticulous touch, weaving together jazz, folk, and pop influences into a seamless soundscape. From the shimmering piano intro to the warm saxophone lines, every note feels placed with purpose. Stewart's vocal delivery is cool and measured, almost like a storyteller letting you in on a private travel diary. The lyrics read like snapshots from a dream, a mysterious woman, a foreign city, fleeting moments that linger in memory long after the encounter has ended. For listeners in 1977, the song was more than music. It was an escape. In an era where soft rock often spoke of love and longing, Year of the Cat added an element of adventure, the promise of something just beyond the horizon. Its sophisticated arrangement and rich instrumentation set it apart on the charts, where it climbed into the US top 10. On FM radio, it became a staple for late-night DJs looking to create atmosphere, the kind of song that made you stay in the car after parking, just to hear it through. For those who experienced it at the time, Year of the Cat could turn an ordinary evening into something tinged with mystery. Even today, it's hard to hear that saxophone solo without feeling like you've stepped into another world. It's proof that soft rock could be both soothing and expansive, capable of telling stories that unfolded far beyond the verse-chorus structure. And in doing so, it secured its place as one of the most evocative tracks of the era.
Don't go changing to try and please me.
Sometimes the biggest songs almost never make it to the record. Just the Way You Are was nearly left off Billy Joel's landmark, The Stranger album, written as a quiet, personal piece, rather than a hit single. It took producer Phil Ramone's keen ear to recognize its universal pull, urging Joel to include it, a decision that would define the album's emotional core. The track opens with the warm, rounded tones of a Fender Rhodes electric piano, Joel's voice slipping in with a sincerity that feels effortless. The arrangement is understated. Gentle percussion, a smooth bass line, and a saxophone solo from Phil Woods that would become one of the most recognizable in soft rock history. Ramone's production lets the song breathe, never rushing its pace, allowing every word to sink in. In the landscape of 1977, filled with disco highs and arena rock anthems, Just the Way You Are was a pause, a moment of stillness where love was celebrated for its constancy, not its drama. For listeners, it became more than a song. It was a vow, one you could play at a wedding, in a quiet moment with a partner, or in the middle of the night when you needed reassurance. The single would go on to peak at number 3 on the Billboard Hot 100 and sweep 2 Grammys, including Song of the Year. But beyond accolades, it embedded itself in the personal histories of millions. For those who first heard it in '77, it might have been playing in the background of a proposal, a slow dance, or a goodbye, moments that would forever be tied to its gentle refrain. Today, its magic remains intact. Play it now, and it still carries that same warmth, as if Billy Joel is singing directly to you. It's the kind of song that reminds us why we return to music from this era, not just for nostalgia, but because some truths never fade. And there you have it, 10 soft rock gems from 1977 that may have slipped from the spotlight, but still hold the power to stop time for just a few minutes. These songs weren't just melodies. They were companions, soundtracks to moments we still carry with us. They remind us that the heart of the 70s lives on in every harmony, every lyric, every quiet confession. Which of these takes you back the most? Let us know in the comments. Like, share, and subscribe for more trips down memory lane. Until next time, keep the vinyl spinning.